Today on Smart Company, we're chatting to Guy Russo, the Managing Director of Kmart. Thanks for joining us, Guy. I appreciate it. To start off with, can you give us a bit of background on what you've done that's led you into this role at Kmart?
Probably had a lot to do with my chief executive role in the previous company, would be the first thing I'd say, which was with McDonald's. So I was there for 33 years. And I always say to people that you're not sure how long you're ever going to be in one place for, but your reputation follows you. And I was just fortunate that when Richard Goyder had purchased the Coles Group, which included Kmart, was looking after a new CEO to run the Kmart business. And he must have done some reference checks and found out that maybe I would be suitable enough to take over the Kmart business.
So you actually worked your way up from the shop floor at McDonald's?
Who doesn't work their way up? Yeah, I did. I started there when I was 15. Yeah, and flipped hamburgers and cleaned bathrooms and served customers. Yeah,
they're two quite different industries, food and retailing. Are there any parallels that you found between them, and what have been the main differences?
The common denominator clearly is consumers, customers, and looking after them. You know, I think no matter what industry you're in or who you are in life, politician or somebody that works at Customs or McDonald's or Kmart, look after your key customer. The differences were probably a lot more. I was a lot more aware of them after I started. So McDonald's formula was pretty simple. You know, it's some hamburger and fry and a Coke. And then Kmart had over 120,000 different versions of the things it sold to customers, and that was complex. Really complex, and I think it had a lot to do with the problems that Kmart had.
I understand when you started at Kmart, it had $4 billion in turnover a year, but was making zero profit, was practically bankrupt. How did you turn that around?
It's well documented prior to Wesfarmers buying it. It was basically in a bankrupt stage for a decade. We were trying to be everybody, trying to serve everybody in the population, which we did. We had $4 billion worth of turnover, but with all of that complexities around all the items that we sold, we had about 125,000 items. It managed to get us from $4 billion to a profit of zero. So we did learn, and I studied with my team around the world who actually played the space best. And no surprises to us that when we went overseas, there were businesses like Primark and Walmart. They're probably the two most common, Primark in Europe and Walmart in America. That stuck to that knitting of just selling basics and selling them at really low prices. So that was the beginning of the journey. Remove all the things that were not basics, and then sell those basics at the lowest possible price. And the reason for the lowest possible price, that was going to be our competitive advantage against anyone that played in our space.
What's Kmart's online strategy?
First response to that is very, very slowly. Yeah, and that's probably because we wanted to make sure that a business that was broken was to fix the core first, which was a little difficult for us when we heard about all the hype on online. And when you hear hype, you think, oh God, we should be in that space too. You know, they're all coming, and plus the bricks and mortar were coming too. Uniqlo was coming and Zara was coming. And we were very good at saying, you know what, all that online and Zara and Uniqlo and Topshop, we've got a little problem called Kmart, and we're not making money out of the current 200 stores we've got. So we very slowly on online, because we wanted to get the core right. And if we could get the core model right, the $4 billion worth of revenue, and get profit coming in on that first, then we would then hope, if we thought online was an opportunity for Kmart, we would do that later. So we're on our 7th year now, and it was only a year ago that we started putting on our first little team to tackle online. And so you're probably best to ask me in 5 years' time, how's that going? But what I can tell you today is that because we focused on ourselves, that's what's caused us probably now to be the most profitable department store in Australia.